Today I'm joined by Hector Bordas. Hector, welcome. How are you doing today?
Hey Karen, I'm doing really well. I'm in Southern California and it's actually raining, which is so rare. So it's a nice day.
Well, but it doesn't happen all the time, though, does it?
No. When it happens, it's like there's accidents on the freeway, and the freeway's barely getting wet, and people just don't know how to drive when it gets wet. And this is not even real rain. I've been in real rain in Central America, and this is nothing compared to
So when it's raining, stay off the roads. Is that your message?
it. Stay home, prepare yourself a nice meal, a glass of wine, and enjoy life.
I like that. Good advice. But we're not here to talk about the weather or Southern California. We're here to talk about
No.
you. So let's start with your story. Can you share a little bit about your background and how you got started in doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, thank you. So I got started, I think when I was a little kid. Somehow I always ended up in leadership positions, elementary school, Boy Scouts, college. Somehow I was president of a club, president of a class, president of this, and it's fantastic. It gave me great opportunity as a young man just to get exposed to what it's take to be a leader. And then went to work corporate life, and I started as a civil engineer, and I thought that was it, the end all. I was going to build stuff and wear a hard hat and build amazing buildings. And within a couple of years, I was leading difficult situations, challenging teams, difficult programs. I learned a lot, and it was fantastic. And of course, studied leadership like crazy, took classes, and I was given even more difficult situations to lead and people to have this vision and mission to move them forward. And somehow I succeeded. Somehow. I don't know. I'm still trying to understand what the magic is, but there was success there. And from that, people asked me to mentor them and to coach them kind of informally. And I thought, wow, this is fantastic because I was having an impact on people, and it was amazing to see the transformation. So then I thought this could actually be a business. And so then I left the corporate world. I retired, and I hate the word retired. It's like you're going to sit on some sofa, watching TV. That's not me. And so I started this business of working with amazing people, helping them see what's possible for them. And I've been doing this for a few years, and it's incredibly rewarding for me to do this.
I love that journey. I'm
Yeah.
curious though, where do you think your leadership skills came from? Were there a lot of examples in your life, in your early life, that showed you how to be a leader?
You know, it's an interesting question because sometimes as leaders are born, and I don't know that's correct. I think there's opportunities to learn from a lot of people. One thing that really changed me is since I took this class, I can't remember what it was, a long time ago, from this colonel in the army. This colonel was he was in real battles, really leading thousands of people, and he had this 3 day class that it was a pilot for him. He wanted to try it out, so I think there was 20 of us in the class, and that was truly the first time that I heard some very strategic things about leadership, and that really transformed me. It was that after that class, I go, I just want to learn more. I just want to learn more, and started picking up books, to listen to people. Podcasts were amazing, learning from amazing people. So I think that class from this colonel really transformed me and really made me think that there's so much to learn and there's so many opportunities out there.
Sounds like it ignited something that was already within you, a little fire, a spark that was there, and it just sort of allowed that to really come to light.
Yeah, it was exciting. I just thought, wow, this. It was just so exciting to actually formally learn some very specific strategies and what is possible. And Colonel challenged me, and we had to write this sort of a personal strategic plan, and it wasn't something that you do in a few minutes. It took time and iterations. and he will give you feedback. And it was my vision for myself as a leader. So it really sparked me to just go out there and get more information and learn from other folks.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned that, there were a lot of challenging times as you took on various leadership roles.
Right.
What are some of the things that you learned by being a leader and being in these challenging situations?
Yeah, and leadership is not a passive thing or for the meek. It's incredibly, it's not. It's like, oh, it's not something that you do 10 minutes a day. It's a full-time job. It is constant. One of the things that I learned was that everything you do and say communicates. Everything in the days where we were all back in the office and some of us are coming back to offices. And I used to tell people, once you step on the floor, all eyes are on you. How you walk, how you dress, your demeanor, your slouching, or it sets the tone for the day. And it has an impact on the culture around you. And I learned a lot from that. And then one of the most challenging things that I learned is that you have to make decisions and you have to take action. I was in charge of a team and my assignment was to change the culture. I was told, I want you to change the culture of the team. And the team was about 250 or so people, highly technical folks, and spent a lot of time kind of just interviewing people, listening to them, getting an idea of what's going on within this team, and then building that trust with the key managers. So that there's about 30 managers, building that trust so that they are comfortable sharing things with me. Sometimes they're not comfortable sharing it together as a group. So that process, I learned a lot about what's going on. And I brought them together. And one of my direct reports, my assistant, he asked me, Hector, what are you doing? And I said, I'm here to change the culture. And I almost had a riot. I've never seen so many angry people. How dare you? Our culture's fine. It's perfect. We get along. And then I just kind of let them vent and let them express themselves. And then when it kind of calmed down, I started hey, well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about what's going on. Here's some of the things that I've heard. And I didn't mention names. And I just mentioned a few key things. At the end of that day, they have come up with over 6 pages of things that they wanted to change. And it was quite remarkable. So, so you have to sometimes be very bold and be very direct as to what you want to do. Don't be shy about it. Even though as a leader, you're going to get pushback. But if you know it's the right thing and it's the right direction, and you know how to collaborate and communicate with folks and help them get comfortable in you and help them get vulnerable, you can actually move things. You can actually get the team to express themselves and be vulnerable and be able to share what's going on and then come up with solutions. So being bold is critical as a leader. And that doesn't mean to yell and scream. That's not what I mean.
So what I'm hearing is challenging the status quo, letting people, give them an avenue or a venue to express themselves and their concerns and their irritations, whatever that may look like. Be open to listening and taking that feedback and providing a safe space in doing so are all the keys that sort of help turn that culture around in that environment that you were describing. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's correct. And then once you go through that initial process and you work with them to define the goals that they want to achieve, and you engage everybody in achieving those goals. This is not some participants, yes, others no. You engage everybody. And so then now they take ownership in their own cultural change, which is quite phenomenal. And once they take ownership on that, they want to succeed. So it was a great process. And in the end, I mean, it's not something that happened in a couple months. It took about a year to go through this process. And after that, it was phenomenal. There was so much transparency and openness and people wanting more. And what else can we do? It was very exciting times.
What an amazing story and just a turnaround in the culture. Like you said, it wasn't something that happened quickly, but over a course of a year, you got a totally different culture where there's engagement, there's trust, there's
Yes.
buy-in. People are excited to be there. So if we take that and we shift gears a little bit and talk about your business today, who do you serve and what do you do best?
Who do I serve? So I was involved for several years in solar energy and renewable energy. So, and I built a lot of relationships around folks there. And I thought, oh, what a niche. I looked at the industry and it's still a young industry. And I had so much opportunity there. So I started in that field and I thought this was going to be great. But then all of a sudden I'm connecting somebody, who's running a hospital, who's a C-suite and major retailer. And I'm telling you, I'm not in a niche anymore. And, people tell me, Hector, you need to be in a niche. I go, well, I'm really not. I have worked with people across so many different industry and all the folks and all the name brand tech companies. And so I'm not in a particular niche. However, the people that I prefer to work with are those that are higher level, more senior folks. And they are in positions that leadership is very difficult. It's risky and there are high stakes involved in the work that they do and they want to perform. And these folks are usually some type of transition. They're either moving up in the organization or want to move up, or they want to try something different across the organization, or they're saying it's time for a change. And I work with people that did that change and started a business, or they changed and went to somebody else. So they're usually some type of transition in their careers.
And what's the number one thing that you help them with?
There's really so much. It's really quite surprising. It surprises me because there's hundreds of thousands of books out there in leadership. So many, and videos and webinars and seminars, tons of it out there that the information is there. And however, what I've noticed, there still is a huge problem with leadership across many organizations. And it really surprises me when I talk to people that the company they work for, the culture's off, or there's tremendous issues, collaboration, teamwork. There's so much of that. Well, the information is there. And what I've come to learn, and I've experienced this, companies send 100 of the top managers to some retreat on leadership for 3 days, whatever, or they attend a conference, a webinar, or they do an online seminar and they watch all of that. So they go through that process. And while they're there and engaged in that, it's great. They're excited. And however, afterwards, they're done. And there's still some excitement after a couple of days, maybe a week. But after that, it wanes. And most people just go back to their old routines, their habits, their behaviors, as if they didn't learn anything. And the piece that's missing is really the coaching. It's like you take a basketball team and take any pro team and the coaching is, hey, we're going to show you a video how to play basketball and then go play basketball. Okay. It may work for a few minutes, but then after that, there's no team. There's no collaboration. So you need that coach there, somebody there to point things out to them, to hold them accountable, to show them those little blind spots. So what I'm seeing across a lot of the industry, so that piece is not there. They don't have somebody there that is willing to be very open with them, very direct, and to hold them accountable. Hey, you just went to this class, a seminar, you learned a tremendous thing, but now you have to implement. There's nobody there to do that. So I think, and it's seen so much. So coaching is incredibly valuable, and it's hard to get that across to people, because it's not something you can point at. But the investment of your time and money, there's a huge payoff. So I see a lot of that. Also, what I see is people are not sure what they want, which is also, to me, is quite remarkable. People have been in careers 10, 20 years, and they're still not sure what they exactly want. They're doing things, they're at work, paperwork, possibly, but they're not really happy or sure what they want. So what I work with them, um, I call it a future self strategic plan, which I didn't create this. This is old stuff, and there's been several books written about future self. But I walked them through a process, which I took what I learned from these books and people, and I modified for myself. So I created this process to help these amazing leaders really define what they want, and very specifically, and how to get there. And the process of getting there is you define exactly what you want. Who are you? Who's this person? Not 10 years from now. I'm talking maybe a year from now. What are you doing? And then we work through a process where on a daily basis, you know exactly what you need to do. There's no questions about it. You know exactly those three important things that you have to execute. And once you do that, it makes things so much clearer. It actually makes your life easier, because then you can say no to those things that do not fit within your strategies, within your priority. And when folks go through this, when my clients go through this, they actually achieve their goals very quick, and they're actually very surprised when they get there and they go, I did this. They go, yeah, fantastic. You said it would take a year and a half, and you did it in 6 months, and it's great. So yeah, going back to the question is, people are not sure what they want or where they want to go. I see that a lot.
So it sounds like you provide a lot of clarity, accountability, and then the strategic plan to really get them from point A to point B. And the results are, the proof is in the pudding, as they say, right?
Yeah. And it's like saying, you set strategic plans your own. You develop a vision for yourself, a very clear vision. And what is your vision? What do you do on a daily basis? And then everything else just falls in place.
I love that. I love that. If you could pick one thing that's working really well in your business, what would that be?
Well, it's I love meeting people, and whether they turn into clients or not, it doesn't matter. I'm constantly meeting people, make connections through LinkedIn or through my networking circles, and what really works. And again, I'm not sure how or what's going on, but we get to know each other really well right off the bat. I have amazing conversations with people from all over the place, and people somehow they get comfortable with me and sharing things with me. And that's huge. And that's huge. Like if you and I meet and we don't have that ability to have that type of conversation, then we're not going to have a good relationship if you're my client. But somehow I would say 99% of the people, it works. It really works. And so whatever magic is happening there, people get very comfortable. They're very open, very vulnerable in sharing things, which helps me coach them a lot easier. So it starts with that. And I think that's part of the things that helps me be successful.
Yeah. It sounds like you're just very approachable, and people have an innate trust when they first meet you, which is a great gift to have, especially in your space as a coach.
You have to have that, or else, I don't know.
So Hector, is there anything that's keeping you up at night?
Oh my gosh, I'm just going to go off coaching. So I do these, they call obstacle course races. They're very challenging. And so I'm thinking of the next one and how to train and how much it's going to hurt. Does it keep me up at night? I don't know. It's just like, oh God, tomorrow morning I got to push myself hard. It's like, oh no. Like, oh crap.
I love it. So no journey is without its challenges. What's something that has surprised you or challenged your assumptions?
I mentioned a little bit earlier, the value of investing time and other resources to coaching. I would think that people that will come across easily, people quickly understand it. However, that's not always the case. It takes a lot of work to help people understand what coaching is. It's not just me telling them things. Hey, do these 3 things and it's done, forever, gone. You're going to be an amazing leader. No, it's much different than that. It's not going to happen in a month or two. Sometimes it takes 6 months. Sometimes it takes 2 years. So when initially meet people is, help them understand what really coaching is all about. And And sometimes people don't even, after we have some good discussions, they still don't see the value there. So that's kind of challenging. Oh, examples are great, and I have in my LinkedIn profile people that have written some recommendations, and it's humbling what people say. So I point them out. Look, these are people I have worked with, and you're welcome to talk to them and read what they have said. None of this is made up. It's all real. So just help getting people to understand what the value of coaching, and it doesn't have to be with me. If we can't work together, hey, I know the folks you can talk to.
If you're in it and you see the value and you've seen what your work has done for other people, that for you, it's a no-brainer. And some people, like you said, just have a bit of a hard time seeing that for themselves.
Yeah. And something else related to that is that, I had amazing leadership positions, so I'm very comfortable leading. And for me, it's since I'm comfortable leading, I can jump into almost any situation, and I'm fine with it. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, anybody can do this. and I had to back off and say, no, wait a second. Not anybody. It's your job to help them go through their journey. So sometimes I have to kind of back off and say, okay, take them little steps at a time, small little steps, help them have those little wins so they can see that they can actually do this. And then they can see, wow, this is totally possible, and I can do amazing things.
Yeah, that's great. As we look ahead, what's next for you and your business?
What's next for me? So I published 2 books. Oh, now I don't have it handy right in front of me. One is on company culture, and I should have had it right in front of me. Here it is. Okay, this is my first book, Company Culture, Getting It Right, and I give this away, or anybody wants to get a copy of it, or you can buy it on Amazon. I'll send it to them. And this little book it's fairly small. It's about changing culture, not in a process that's going to take you years, but you can do this 12, 18 months. And it walks you through the steps that I have gone through, everything that I have learned, everything that have worked. So everything here, definitely I have proven that it works. And then I did a book on neuroplasticity. We can get into that. I'm in the process of doing the initial work on my 3rd book, which will be on leadership, but it's not about leading teams, it's about leading yourself through not only career challenges, but personal challenges, and how to thrive in that chaos and come out as an amazing person. So I'm working on that. So that's my future right now. Maybe sometime next year I'll publish it, but I'm super excited about that.
That sounds like an exciting next chapter for you, for sure. Can't wait to see that on the bookshelves. Hector, how do you define success at this stage?
It's not about money. It's really what impact I'm having on folks. And there's this thing that says impact equals happiness. So what is that impact I'm having on folks? So to me, that's success. If I'm working with a person and it's a very challenging situation, they have a lot of things to work through, and we actually work together well, and this person is willing to be very proactive, try things, take some risks, and ultimately they become the leader that they want to, and then they have an impact on the people they work with. That to me is success. Just stepping back and watching that happen, that's success. It feels so amazing.
That sounds amazing, especially when you see them stepping into that leadership role or that leadership ability that we all have, but they've with your help have brought that forth, and then they go forth and impact. It's like a ripple effect, right? You help them, they help others, and it just continues. So I could see how that would be so rewarding for you.
Sometimes we have these fears or these limitations and biases that we create for ourselves, that we're telling ourselves we can't do that, or this is scary, or oh my gosh, no way. And with the right coaching, the right person working with you, you can get over that mindset. You really can. And you can, and be able to do things that you would not believe that are possible. So yeah, so getting those little things out that are inside you, exposing them, and then taking those little steps. It's amazing what people can do, even when they start with all kinds of fears and all kinds of limitations. It's really amazing what is possible.
Yeah, the sky's the limit, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Before we wrap up, I'd love to leave our listeners with one takeaway. What piece of advice would you give to leaders who are navigating growth today?
It's if you can think strategically all the time, it makes a huge difference. It sounds so simple, but if you have a very well-defined mission for your company, your team, your organization, so clear. And then you have very specifically what they call SMART goals. And you think strategically all the time to get there. Avoid all the distractions that we have now. Saying all the things that do not fit within that box. You're going to be an amazing leader. You are. That strategic thinking, it's critical. And even in your outside your career and your personal life, that type of thinking makes a huge difference. So if you can develop that strategic thinking, your life will, I'm not going to say it's going to be amazing. We all have challenges, but it'll make a difference.
For sure.
Life can be tough.
A little bit of strategy goes a long way.
Yes. Yes.
Hector, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know our listeners will take a lot away from this. Where can our listeners connect with you online?
LinkedIn is the best place. Just search Hector Bordas. There's a lot of information there. Or my email at hector@onepluswe.com. Spell that out. And I will love to chat with your listeners and see what happens.
Thanks so much again for joining me on the Leadership Podcast.
It's been a pleasure, Karen. Great to speak with you.
Thank you for spending your time with me today on the Leadership Lab podcast. My hope is that this conversation sparked a new perspective or reinforced something you already knew. Until next time, keep leading with curiosity and intention.